Well, today I'm going to show you a little process about making creamed honey. And obviously to start with you need honey, and you need a seed honey, which basically you mix with the honey and it makes creamed honey. So we'll just go on and show you what we do. So obviously this is about 20 pounds of honey in the bucket here. And this is our creamed honey. Now we warmed this up slightly. As you can see, it's sort of a little bit fluid in the glass, just to make it come out a little bit easier. And we're going to stir that into there, and we'll just show you what happens. See how easy it runs? Now there's a lot of stirring involved in making creamed honey. Some call it whipped honey, some call it spun honey. But it's all the same. You use a seed, which is this one here, into ordinary honey. Could be rape, could be anything at all. And this honey takes up the consistency of this. It's to do with the shape of the sugar crystals. This has got oval sugar crystals, and this one's got jagged crystals. And the ratio is about 10 pounds of honey to a pound of seed honey. So there's 20 odd pounds in the bucket, and we'll be putting 2 of these in. Takes a little bit of time. Some people mix this up with a stainless steel corkscrew whisk just to make things a bit easier. I'm afraid all we've got is a spatula, so ours will take a little bit longer than the rest. So we might take a break at some point, and when we get near the end we'll do another little video and show you how we finish it off. Right, so I mean that's pretty much out of that jar there. There's near enough that one. Right, so if we start with our next one. Same sort of thing, we've actually warmed it up slightly. You just sort of see it coming out on its own there. It does help just to warm the seed honey up just a tiny little bit, just to make it easier to get out the jar. And that's basically it on that one. Now we'll just give that a quick stir. You see how it's sort of like taking the colour? Now I'll just show you something there. Now, if we sort of zoom into that. Can anybody pick which galaxy we're looking at? Could be our one, could be any one of a million galaxies. And all from a jar or a bucket of honey. There you go. So we'll just carry on mixing that for now, and it'll look better all the time. You don't want to introduce air into this, so you don't want to whisk it up and put lots of air. This is just gentle strokes, and as you can see, them 2 pounds of seed honey have near enough dissolved totally into that 20 pounds of honey. And obviously once it's all dissolved, then we have to jar it, and we put it into jars, and we store it about 13 degrees, 14 degrees, and it will transform all that honey into nice set honey, or soft set honey. So just keep on stirring, and you can see it's basically changing colour all the time. As you can see, there's still sections of it where we haven't got it mixed. But, as we're doing it by hand, it does take a little bit longer to actually do and get an even consistency. Because obviously you don't want these unmixed patches in the jar, because it won't turn into soft set honey. God, I wish I had one of them spiral stirrers on the end of a drill. Well, that's pretty much there, I think. I will come back to that in a little while. But there you go. What a difference a change, eh? £2 of seed honey in £20 of ordinary honey, and stir it for a few minutes, and the actual process is started already. And then we just cool it down a couple of days and it's ready. Right, well, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video when I'll show you the next stage of the process. And this is about half an hour after you saw us stirring it for ages and ages earlier on. And you can see how the bubbles have rise to the top. And overall it's changed into a consistent sort of colour. We'll just sort of zoom in, just to make it see if you can get any better or not, I don't know really. Lots of air bubbles, but they've all risen to the top, which is good. And it's a nice even consistency. So we will actually be jarring it up shortly and just putting it in the chiller. So within a few days it will be ready to, well, it'll be ready. Right, well, thanks for watching. And basically this is the next stage of the creamed honey process. You obviously saw us mixing it up earlier on, and it's been sitting in the bucket. The air's obviously come to the top, and I've poured one jar off already, and you can sort of see the way the colour's gone through the jar, sort of more even colour. And then from once I've done this, we'll chill it slightly and it'll be fine. As you can see, as it comes out, it's a pretty even colour, which means it's well mixed. Hopefully all the air bubbles have floated to the top. We've just got to keep an eye on it, so as we don't want to overfill the jars here now, because they tend to leak. There we go. So we've got about 25 or 30 of these to do. So it's quite simple to actually make creamed honey or spun honey. You just mix the seed honey in with ordinary honey, blend it all together, and the ordinary honey takes on the same consistency and texture as your seed honey. Or that's what's supposed to happen anyway. So that's what we've got to do. I'll fill this jar up and I'll turn you off, and once I've got all these jarred up, I'll show you what it does, what the next process is of putting it in the chiller, and it will sit there for a couple of days and turn into creamed honey. Right, well, thanks for watching. This is the last of that batch. I think we'll find we're going to get another 2 or 3 jars out of this. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19. This is 20. What was the film when I went in it? let's try that again, eh? That was a bit of a disaster, that was.
Yeah, I was like that when I first started.
But we're getting near the end of the barrel now, so maybe that's why it moved.
Yeah, give it a few minutes.
Watch that wheel, it
Yeah.
cooks very quick.
I don't get much more than that, because it's actually bringing out the very top of the honey there. See all the, not scum really, I suppose the tiny little bits of wax which is left in it, and bits of pollen. So I'll make this the last one, and ooh, it's hailstone.
Have you seen him drop it?
There we go, we'll shut that one down now.
I'll get scared.
Alright, let's just show you what we got. Okay. So we've got all them there. Still got to jar that one up. Put the lids on them too. And there's a little bit left in the bottom there, but we don't want to go too deep. Because I mean, that's alright for us house honey, but it's not really any good for anybody else. Anyway, and then it goes into the chiller, which is like a wine cooler. And in 2 or 3 days, that'll be set honey, or whatever you want to call it, spun honey. You'll be able to turn the jar upside down, it won't come out. Soft set honey, super stuff. Well, thanks a lot.